1992 was a year of distinction for Mike Borkowski. The full-time Cornell University student ended his season third in the Oldsmobile Pro Series Championship, culminating the year with a victory in the season finale. This season started well, with Borkowski winning the pole at the opening round at Road Atlanta and leading for 8 laps until a spin spoiled his day. But this is a very determined driver, and with 3 straight podium finishes, including a win at Mid-Ohio, he comes to Des Moines leading the championship race. But with competitors like LOEBEL, Thomas, and LAZZARO hot in pursuit, Borkowski must work hard to achieve his goal, the 1993 Oldsmobile Pro Series Championship. As you can see, it's an absolutely beautiful day in Des Moines, Iowa. But it hasn't been that way lately. In fact, the Des Moines River is running at its highest level in years. But it appears as though the weatherman is cooperating and we may have a beautiful race today. Hello, everyone. I'm Bruce Flanders, and welcome to the 5th annual Rouen Grand Prix of Des Moines, Iowa. And it's time for round number 5 of the Oldsmobile Pro Series. As we predicted in our opening season race at Road Atlanta, it was going to be a close battle, and it has certainly proven that way. Look at the points. Mike Borkowski's in front of it, but just barely at the halfway point in the season. With me to call the action, our racing analyst, Calvin Fish. And Calvin, does this tight points battle surprise you?
Not at all, Bruce. In fact, it just continues the tradition of this series with close competitive racing. In fact, in races this season, we've seen 4 different winners. But this street race here at Des Moines really creates different demands for both the teams and the drivers. And the first 3 guys on the grid haven't won a race this season, so we're making our 5th different winner from the first 5 races.
Now let's meet the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Bart KENDALL, who is with the pole sitter.
Going fast street course sometimes takes a different driving style, and the guy that figured it out the best today is our pole sitter here, Bob Thomas. Bob, you've had quite a bit of success in Des Moines over the years. You had the pole in 1991, and you won last year. What's the reason for your success on this track?
It's kind of hard to say what the actual reason for success is, other than I really like street courses. It kind of fits my driving style. I'm just very successful on them, and Bob Griffith does a phenomenal job of setting the car up, along with our sponsors, Terry Machine and AIM, the financial support that's needed to be successful on a street course, including bodywork, etc. It's just kind of one of those things. I just happen to fit into that schedule.
Fit in he does, and he's trying to make it 2 straight here in Des Moines.
The weather conditions at the moment, up in the 80s for temperature. The sun is pounding down out of the sky. Wind probably 10 to 15 miles an hour, but I don't really think it'll be a factor. This is just about picture perfect. Now, let's meet the field for this race. Bob Thomas out of Grand Blanc, Michigan, the fastest qualifier. You've met him already. Sharing that front row and plenty quick, Greg LOEBEL out of St. Petersburg, Florida. To the 2nd row, driving a car of his own creation, the Miller, is Jim Miller. And sharing that row, the hot young rookie out of Atlanta, Georgia, Anthony LAZZARO. On back, Chuck Hemmingson, row 3, a local from West Des Moines. Bob LIEBERT, who'll have our camera in row number 4. Let's meet the rest of this field, and as they come by us, let's have Calvin Fish describe this racetrack here in Des Moines and what it's actually like to drive it.
They've changed the configuration slightly since last year. It's now 1.8 miles with 10 turns, but they have maintained the long straightaways. What that provides for the drivers is some great braking opportunities at the end of those. But the main problem here is the bumps. It's very bumpy, it's very hard on the drivetrains, and that's the key to get it through to the finish.
Qualifying back in the 7th place position is the number 22, Bob LIEBERT. And right up near his helmet, you can spot a camera. That camera will be giving us some in-car shots like this from the streets of Des Moines. There we go. Green flag is waving, and they're on their way to turn 1. Trying to make the moves inside. No, it is the number 19 who comes off the corner with the lead. That's Bob Thomas, our pole sitter. You've met him already. But he's getting some heat from behind, Calvin.
Greg LOEBEL had a really good start there. I thought he may have been able to pull across in front of Bob and get the start. And we see A.J. Smith up into a strong 3rd place running right now.
I didn't expect A.J. Smith to actually get that good of a start. He started to go back in 6th, and he's up to 3rd.
Back to the 5th position, and Anthony LAZZARO holds down the 4th position right now.
Anthony LAZZARO, oh, somebody's a little tail happy right there.
Greg LOEBEL, in fact, clipped the wall there. He's obviously got a problem. I would think that he's damaged that rear suspension, or maybe looks like the left rear may be down or something. We see the rest of the field come through there, which is turn 6.
Well, back underway. He's 2nd place in points, and now he's last on the racetrack, and it gives Bob Thomas to get away as you watch the battle for 2nd.
Big lead for Thomas. Anthony LAZZARO now puts puts the pressure on A.J. Smith, and that's Chuck Hemmingson now in the 4th position, the local driver here in Des Moines, running in a strong 4th spot right now.
Hemmingson has been driving in a lot of different classes this weekend, so he's as track-wise as anybody.
More time around this place than anyone, what series you're talking about, so he could be in a strong... And he, as we say that, he makes a mistake there, leading into turn 8, turn 9, and spins it around under braking.
Hemmingson, a former truck champion when the SCCA raced the trucks here, he's locked up in a gear maybe.
Looks like he's in a forward gear. Now he finds reverse, and it looks like the whole field has gone by, but he's still trying to get out of that situation. We see Greg LOEBEL go through there, and he's obviously back on his way. And Bob Thomas, at this stage of the race, first lap, has a big lead.
It must be scary to look back and see in your mirrors how far back it is now to second this early.
Well, we now see that Anthony LAZZARO has got A.J. Smith, so he may be the man who's going to have to put the pressure on Bob Thomas this afternoon. And Mike Borkowski, he's up into the top 6 already, so he's making a strong charge through the field. Had problems in qualifying, and he's now making the moves on Jim Miller.
Borkowski in that Power Bar 93 group car, and he is, as we've talked about it before, a student junior in Cornell, and doing a pretty good job on the racetrack.
Well, he's our championship leader currently, and he's got around Jonathan Holtzman. We see Bill DeLong putting some pressure on Jonathan there in the background, and Bob Liebert is coming up through the field.
Round 5 of the Oldsmobile Pro Series will continue from Des Moines, Iowa after this short break. He enjoys.
Well, Bob is very comfortable on a street course. He always runs well, held the pole here a couple of years ago, won the race last year, and he's just comfortable using the extreme limits of the racetrack, running right close to the walls, and some guys like to have a comfort zone there.
Borkowski is not going as quickly as we have seen him go in the past.
He struggled today, and last year he led the race, sat on the pole, and really ran away from the field, and they just missed on the setup. They've got 2 Shannons running this race, Anthony LAZZARO and Mike Borkowski, and typically what they do on a race weekend is actually go in different directions on the setup. But obviously Anthony's got the right one, and Mike's gone kind of halfway with his setup towards that for the race, but it's always an unknown. He isn't comfortable with this race car yet, but we may see him come on strong during the race.
That's the number 45, Chuck Hemmingson, who has recovered from his early spin, and I now show him in the 12th place position. The local guy should know his way around the track, and he's coming up.
That's right, Bruce, and as you look at that left front spoiler, you can just see that the splitter there on the front edge is just turned up. That shouldn't hurt his handling too much, but he obviously got stuck there, couldn't find the reverse gear, and just as we were claiming that he's going to make a strong run, he made that small mistake on the first lap, and that's cost him dearly.
As he's running right along, let's take a look at the battle for 5th place. Mike Borkowski, the red car, number 93, holds it, and obviously number 37, Jonathan Holtzman, wants by. Holtzman trying him at turn 1 with a big crossover maneuver. These guys are getting close together now. Holtzman all over the racetrack trying to outrun him, but can't.
Running a real defensive line, and you saw Jonathan there point a finger. He's not happy with the way that Mike is driving. Mike is defending his line, and all the time the front 4 guys are getting further and further away. We see Jim Miller there going through turn 4 as these guys head down towards it. And Mike's just trying to hold position, but what he may be better to do is to actually let Jonathan through. It's early in the race. Let those 2 guys run at the quickest speed they can and try and catch the front 4.
This battle in Des Moines is about the best one on the racetrack. You can see it's starting to rubber up well. We share this racetrack with the Trans Am and a lot of other forms of competition, and it changes during the weekend.
It really does. We had a lot of rain here last night that washed out the qualifying session this morning, so the times were set yesterday, but the track will be a little bit green, won't have the grip that they had in the qualifying session of yesterday, so it's an adjustment. These guys are having to constantly adjust. They do have some changes they can make in the cockpit to the roll bars and the brake bars to make the cars handle a little bit better, but they've got to make the best of what they've got underneath them right now.
Still, the battle for 5th place we're watching. 93, Borkowski. 37, Holtzman. Now, Borkowski seems to have power on him as they come down the straightaways. Holtzman seems to catch up to him under braking. But it is still Borkowski holding him back as we move back to 7. And there's Greg LOEBEL, who had a lot of problems early, but he's recovering, Calvin.
Yeah, I thought at one stage that Greg had a problem with the car, maybe a flat tire or had a suspension problem to the way he was looping it around there on the first lap. But he seems to be running strong now, and he's been very disappointed not to be on the pole so far this season. He's got pipped 3 times on the very last lap of qualifying to be bumped from the pole position, but he's running strong. It's only a matter of time before he scores his first victory.
We'll be right back in Des Moines, Iowa after this short break.